Happy Friday. Today's Friday, April 24th, 2026, and we are doing our Pipeline Playbook. I'm very excited about this. We have been doing these webinars for months now, and while these are very informal and ideally informative solutions, I've got my team online. Sorry, I was just like, we're doing this through Restream. And for those that are here that are watching live, amazing. Thank you for joining us on either LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube for now, or for those that have signed up and are joining from the actual landing page. Awesome. If you'd like to participate and ask any questions, you can go ahead and head on over to Mongoose Media on Facebook or on YouTube, or you can follow me directly on LinkedIn. That way, you'll be able to comment in the chat like we have Irish here on YouTube, same with Bay. And I can put your stuff forward and we're figuring this out. Remember, these are informal, but ideally informative. This is a chance where I get to train my team. So my staff at Mongoose Media is actually present on these webinars. And whether you're watching it live or watching it in a replay, my goal is that you get the exact same training I'm giving them. So you have questions, feel free to jump on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook. Otherwise, tune in next time, because I'll be able to answer questions live. Today is actually my younger brother's wedding. So today is going to be a quick 25 minutes, and it's a continuation of what we talked about last time. While these are traditionally so informal that we have no slides, Heather on my team, woo woo, shout out to her, has made some slides that will help make sure that we're progressing the conversation. Definitely, if you have questions, that will direct a little bit more of where we're going. But what I usually do on these is I'll share my screen, and I'm opening up now. I use a free tool from Google called draw.io. Hello, Grace. Welcome, welcome. We use a tool called draw.io, and on these, I typically will just share my screen, and sometimes I'll make edits live because there's going to be stuff that changes. And so like I'll show you right now. Here's like the pipeline funnel data that I'm looking at, and it looks like, oh, this got moved over. No big deal. So like we'll do live, and then we'll go through different pieces. Last time we recorded this, we really went in onto zeros and ones, talking about shadow leads and a bit into the twos, so 0 through 2, but really spent a lot of time on what we call shadows. And what we want to do, progress through that, and absolutely agreed, Irish, Heather is the GOAT for sure. We wanted to continue the conversation. So she's in the background, and she'll be able to change the screens. And it's not improv to the full extent that it can be, but it's basically the same thing. So I'm going to actually ask her also be our timekeeper because I have a wedding to get to. Yes, GOAT. So we'll go right into it. Heather, are you able to switch the things? I want to see how much you're able to control from the background. Again, as we're figuring this out and using Restream together. Boom! Okay, this is super cool. Thank you for doing this. So, oh, I can see your mouse too. Oh, how fun. Okay, so where we left off last time that we talked about this, and this is available on YouTube, so you can catch the last recording of how we talk about our pipeline. Our pipeline is 0 through 8. So zeros are shadows and suspects, 8s are our disqualifieds. And this is a CRM status that we assign to every single contact inside of our ecosystem. Every contact inside of our ecosystem has an assigned number for their CRM status, 0 through 8. Last time, again, we talked about shadows and suspects, subscribers, and marketing qualified leads are 2. So 0, 1, and 2. This time, we're going to be talking about 3s. But I wanted to call out that things that we have updated, because we are showing live documents that I use at Mongoose Media, that my team uses at Mongoose Media. And I wanted to flag some changes and improvements because, let me see if I can, oh, nope, I didn't want to make me bigger. I wanted to make this bigger. Because some of the things that we've changed include like this label swapping. So what I wanted to do is that, like, if you watched last time, we had been talking about inside of our, I'll share my screen for consumed and consumable. When we had in our marketing qualified leads, let me see how I can go in between. For our marketing qualified leads, when we changed the name, we had changed it to consumable versus consumed, because in our difference between marketing qualified leads and sales qualified leads, we've already had a dialogue and we want to talk to them. So that was just a change that we had made, making this more consumable. So just calling that out if you're watching the last one. And then Jumping back here. Another thing we had said is for a zombie auto clear, we had created this solution where it's if someone has been in a subscriber status 1Z, they become moved to disqualified after a year. I'll go back again and share what that means for those that have watched last time. Let me see. Can I make it just this? Oh, I'm getting better at Restream by the day. So in our subscribers, right? Everyone defaults into a butthead because we don't know. It's this holding pattern. They come in, they're subscribed. These are not leads. If you know me well enough by now, you know that I think leads are horseshit and that someone who just signs up is not a lead. If you have no dialogue, you have no qualification. People lie on their forums all the time. So what we do is when they become a subscriber, because a lead is someone that wants to hear what we have to sell, a subscriber wants to hear what we have to say, they get put in this holding pattern where we call them a 1B butthead. If they provide us proof of life, amazing. That's what success looks like for getting someone to sign up for a webinar like this, getting someone to sign up for our Yes Please, getting someone to download our LinkedIn checklist. Whatever it is, a solution that someone got into our ecosystem, if they don't show signs of proof of life, which means that they've been a subscriber that shows a reply or a click to the email that they signed up for, we're giving you what you asked for. You don't click, you don't reply, you're just a butthead to us until you show proof of life, unless after our email triage system, you become a zombie. A zombie means that we have no idea if they have a pulse or if they're a bot. They failed email triage. So email triage, which is an upcoming webinar where we talk about how we demand this proof of life. They are essentially dead to us. And we actually send back into the Meta ecosystem as well to our CRM that we denote that this individual was trash.com. They were a zombie. They have no proof of life. I don't want to optimize for any of those. If we're signing up people for our ecosystem, getting subscribers in to ultimately become prospects, you show no proof of life. I can't give you a proof of pulse, which can't let me get a proof of activity, which will then allow us a proof of assignment. Those sequential steps of proof allow us to market for more of what we are trying to get. We want to be more effective in our marketing, and before we can be efficient, we have to be effective, because otherwise we're being efficient in the wrong direction. So what we've done as a change is we've now, I need you, let me, if I stop sharing, maybe I'll go back to that. Oh, here we go. What we've done, can you go back, Heather, to the slide, which was the things we changed? We just made an auto clear. So if someone has been inside our ecosystem as a zombie, you've shown no proof of life, because we have email triage. After you've gotten out of it, you're likely going to get maybe 1 or 2 emails max. We send 2 emails a week at Mongoose Media. If you are defaulted to a 1Z zombie and you are not engaging with us, you're going to get 1, maximum 2 emails a month from us. And if you continue to not show any proof of life, which is like clicking or replying to any of our emails, or if you don't elect into another opt-in or sign up for a discovery call or some other system that allows you to progress from 0 to 8, I'll just show at a glance. I know I'm going to keep talking back and forth. Team, like, as you're on this, remember, the goal of at the end of these is that it just feels as fluid as we're going, right? So you come in from 1. If you progress to prospect or 5 or 6, 7, ideally not 8. But if you don't change and you're still in the status of 1Z, at 365 days, we actually change you from being a zombie to being an 8 disqualified individual. So actually, I'm going to add this into here, was a 1Z for over 365 days, so that we can just make sure that we're keeping it up to date. Last but not least, on the other thing that we changed in this, that we just, as you've seen, it's a working document. If something reads wrong, this is definitely more for the team than for, thanks Heather, for others that are watching live, because you don't have access to the live doc. If you see something that's misquoted, like, say something, right? You can email me directly if you don't, if you're not a member of the team, but this is a working document. So we'll fix it live when we see it, but if you see something, say something. Consider us the airport. Okay, jumping into today's, what we really want to talk about is our 3s. So our 3s are our sales qualified people. 0 shadows are subscribers, 1s are shadows are suspects, 1s are subscribers, 2 are marketing qualified leads, so that people who say, I'm interested in what you have to sell. Now 3s. 3s are our sales qualified leads. These are people that we want to sell to. You cannot become a 3 without a dialogue, because again, you can lie. We don't know if you're actually interested in what we have to say. You can say, oh, I'm interested, but when it comes down to it, we don't know if that's true or not. So if you go to the next slide, we talk about the 4 ways in which we disqualify someone or qualify them into becoming from a 2 to a 3. We follow a system called BANT. That stands for budget, authority, need, and timing. If we can find out in our dialogue, and maybe that dialogue is not face-to-face or Zoom to Zoom, but it can be emails back and forth. What we are trying to suss out in terms of qualification is, do you have at least 2 of our 4 BANT requirements? Budget, authority, need, and time. I'm super okay if you have 2 of the 4. I am not okay if you only have 1 of the 4. Having to sell someone on 3 of the 4 is too much of a lift, and there's other people and resources that we can allocate to that have a higher likelihood of purchasing. So for us, it's the same thing that we apply to our clients. So budget is when we're going back and forth. Do they have a budget to hire agency services? Do they have a budget to look on to group or private consulting? Authority, are they the decision maker? Are they allowed to say, yes, I want to opt in my employees into marketing rehab so that they can get weekly group coaching by yours truly? If they are not a decision maker, they lack the authority, then there's another step in the pipeline. And it's okay if we're talking to the not ultimate decision maker, because if they still have a need, they're saying, hey, I absolutely have employees that need additional training, that want to be better supported because we have in-house resources and I just don't have the time. I'm assuming I'm like the VP of e-commerce or the director of marketing that says, please, I want to enroll my employees to stay on top of some of the marketing trends, since I, Lauren, am leading that call every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern, and I'm sharing back stuff that I do. I go to 2 to 3 conferences a month. I am constantly learning, and I am pressure testing within our clients and in our own projects, as well as sharing the information out so that those that are private and group clients can have access to that same stuff. So you might not be the one who can ultimately say, yeah, I'm going to enroll my team into marketing rehab, or I'm going to engage Mongoose Media into services, but you know that your company has a need for those services. It has to happen right now because we're coming into the second quarter. First quarter, a lot of people are in a transition period because they're changing off of their previous agencies. They've had budget cuts, what have you, but they have the budget now, they have the need now, and they have the timing. All that's super great, even if you're not the authority person, because again, waiting that extra step to get the ultimate decision maker is okay. But we don't always know that until we've dialogued. Therefore, if we can get someone to have 2 of the 4, then it allows us to graduate them from a 2, a marketing qualified lead, someone interested in what we have to sell, to a sales qualified lead, someone who's interested in someone that we're interested in selling to. So Heather, let's jump back to the previous one about the different 3s. So just as we had with 1s, we have 1A, active, 1B, butthead, 1C, couldn't be bothered, 1Z, zombie, all covered in the last recording. Well, we have our 3s, we have these 4 segments within our sales qualified leads. So who are our actives? These are people that like our highest activity. So these are the ones that we want to sell. Yeah, there are a lot of numbers, Heather. I feel you. But what you can really boil it down is to, well, we have 3A, B, C, D. It really comes down to 2 different things. Are they active or are they inactive? So you could even like disregard. I'm going to share I'll share the Draw.io one to jump into this. So if you take it down, the sales qualified leads, they fall into 1 of 2 categories. Are they active sales qualified leads or are they inactive sales qualified leads? Remember, in order for them to be sales qualified leads, I know this is becoming like a drinking game at this point, but if we have not had a convo with an actual human being, no conversation, no qualification is possible, because this is marketing qualified lead versus sales qualified lead. So when we're talking about where they fit, A, B, C, D, whatever, the reality is it all comes into, are they active or inactive? Our active sales qualified leads are the people that we're working inside of our pipeline. They're in our new sales pipeline. And so we have multiple different pipelines, which have been covered in previous ones. If that's something you want us to bring back up, just leave a comment or send us an email. Mine is lauren@mongoosemedia.us. You can email me directly. Please note, my amazing assistant Grace is going to be the first person to look at that email. So be nice to her. Leave her a compliment and it'll probably get escalated to me. in a much faster way. But in our pipeline, if we are working on them, so here we've got active, we can say it's hot or building. These are just more, they're not actual drop downs in our CRM, because this 3, 4, 0, 1, all of those numbers, those are actually corresponding to the CRM status, so that we know what they are. So that's a drop down attached to every single contact. Then we have 3 active, 3 inactive. This hot, building, downgraded, future interest, lost a competitor, those are more just for the team. You guys understand what are other examples of who's considered an active sales qualified lead versus who's an inactive one. So an active sales qualified lead is someone who's taken a discovery call with Mongoose Media in the last 30 days. So it's someone that, like, they've engaged with us. We've talked on the phone with them. We want to talk to them. Maybe they haven't progressed to a prospect, which means that we're into the strategy phase. Because remember, at Mongoose, we have a 3-call sales process: discovery call, strategy call, closing call. Discovery call, you chat with someone on the team who is just figuring out BANT, B-A-N-T, budget, authority, need, timing. Is this a good fit for you? Are you looking for a solution that we offer? Can we be of service? I don't want to waste an hour of your time if in 20 minutes I can be like, oh, hey, I actually have a different recommendation or something like that. Strategy call. I'm almost always on the strategy call. So I'm getting directly, I'm like, here, open up my brain. You get to borrow it for the next 30 to 40 minutes. And we're going to talk about real tangible things that you want to move the needle on, so that while the discovery call is us discovering if you're someone that we want to sell to, the strategy call is you determining whether we add strategic value to the initiatives you want. You're not investing into Mongoose Media because of the name necessarily. I mean, that would be great. But the reality is you're looking for a transformation and you're looking for a change in outcome. So what you currently have and what you want to have are 2 different states. So in that strategy call, our second call, those that are coming into the calls with us are trying to discover for themselves, are we a good fit? Because it's a 2-way street. Our first step is, are we a good fit for you? Second step is, first step is, are you a good fit for us? Second step is, are we a good fit for you? And then the third closing call is like, okay, and then we're talking numbers, right? We're going to say like, oh, we're the most expensive person. Well, I wouldn't say that we're the most expensive agency. I know we're definitely not the cheapest, but it's not a matter of cost, because when you're talking about price and you're talking about cost, you're factoring opportunity cost. And that's why in the third call, it's going over, well, here's the opportunity cost if you were to invest with Mongoose Media for us to take your ad campaign or your email marketing or even the content that you're designing for your various advertising opportunities. If you were to invest into Mongoose Media, this is the outcome that we want to project for you. And here's how we're going to get there. Like, one of our tenets is transparency. Like, I live by that. I want to be transparent. I want to be forthcoming. And we ask the same for our clients so that we can have real conversations. So before we get to the strategy or the closing call, it's on that discovery call, we have this sales qualified lead. So if they've attended the first call within the last 30 days, they stay as an active sales qualified lead. If we have gone into the strategy call and then I'm jumping out, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, I feel really strong. I'm like, what's near me? Okay, I've got this blender bottle. And say we meet with the people at Blender Bottle and they're like, oh my gosh, we love your ideas. We're talking about how, like, all you do is talk about like gym blender bottles and stuff like that. But what if you were to talking about the people that are constantly traveling, and we make campaigns that are discussing the lack of quality, healthy food that's available to the entrepreneur who's always traveling, and saying, like, having something like this that doesn't take up much weight and allows you to, I mean, if you were to look at the bag of food I bring protein powders, microgreens, and all these other supplements so you can have a fine quality breakfast, even though you might not have fine quality sleep because you're traveling on the plane or you're changing different time zones, whatever it is. Say on that strategy call, we're going back and forth, and the people at Blender Bottle are like, oh my gosh, that's right. I do want to tap into the female entrepreneur who wants to maintain a healthy budget while her travel schedule doesn't lean into that very successfully. So say that that's a good fit. They would change and graduate from sales qualified lead to prospect, because we're like, we've already scheduled a call. So here we say, scheduled a second call, it hasn't happened. Or the attended discovery call and we're attempting, actually, that's interesting. We should also have in here is scheduled a call, hasn't, or has had the strategy call and it went really well. Has not closed yet and within 30 days of the closing call. But I'm going to put 30 days within the closing call, team, because we work with a lot of enterprise brands. Star is enterprise, can take 6 to 9 months. Just because, as you know, like some of the bigger brands that we work with, we have to wait for the new year for budget. They have contracts they're in. So that's why it's that asterisk. But when we have a sales qualified lead is someone that's jumping into the discovery call, and sometimes we end up doing the strategy call and the discovery call on the same, whether I'm meeting you in person or whatever it is. So it's this like area of gray. Let me just check in to see if anyone has questions on it. Okay. Grace is asking one. I always want to know if people say they'll book a second call but don't. Oh, okay. Separate to that, Grace, that's fair. Why do people say they want to book a call but then actually don't? Sometimes it's easier for people to pretend they're interested than they're not. And that has to happen during the discovery call. And that's why it's understanding budget, authority, need, and timing. If they only have one, they may want to, but they don't have enough ammunition ready to go yet. I think the biggest is that people will do it because it's easier to make people feel better. Like you want the other person, like a ChatGPT LLM. I want you to feel happy. And I could be like, yeah, hey, I want to jump on the call. But the reality is, oh, this is not a good fit. It's just easier, right? That's why ghosting exists in the dating space. And it happens. And then let me just go back to here. Your second follow-up question was, have we ever tried to win back lost to competitor leads? Oh, okay, perfect. So now you're talking about where they fit in. Let's go back to this. She's talking about specifically the inactive. So let's go back to here. Heather, you can remove Grace's comment so we can focus more on this piece. But in the active, they've attended a discovery call. They attended a live webinar, watched the replay within the last 30 days, because that's like someone who's given a lot of time. Although I'm going to say, like here, I'm actually going to highlight this. Maybe we can clear, hold on. I'm going to put this in yellow as something to review, because maybe that comes into a 2 instead of a 3. Because if they've attended the live webinar, they would have had to have participated. So again, that we know without a dialogue, they can't progress here. So I think there's an opportunity for us to clean that up, which is cool. That's what this is for. But in the inactives that Grace was talking about, oh my, what am I doing? Oh gosh. Pause. No. Okay. I'm gonna highlight that again. I don't know how I zoomed in or didn't zoom in. This is fun. If there's ever a blooper reel of all the times that Lauren is just talking about myself in third person, okay, weird. Dang it, I don't know how to do that. And I'm just gonna, can I go back? No, go forward. All right, Heather, phone a friend. How do we highlight that? Because I think we need to update the actives, but let's go focus on the inactives. For the inactives, downgraded, what we say here is they said they would schedule a call but didn't, so we'll follow with them until they opt out and disqualify themselves. So if they had attended a discovery call and it's been more than 30 days, they've been downgraded from being an active sales qualified lead to an inactive sales qualified lead. Or similarly, if they had participated or been in a, oh, hey, Heather, see you around. Hi. If they have participated in a webinar, but it's been more than 30 days, again, they go down to an inactive sales qualified lead, because we want to sell to them. The timing from our side or their side isn't a problem. We're not going away, right? Like we have, fortunately, an amazing pipeline and at times a wait list for people to engage with us. So having it down there is just, whether it's ready now or ready later, everything is long-term. At least that's the way that I live by everything in life. The best parts in life take time. And so we're always happy to wait for it. For future interest, so this is who's the people we want to sell to. Someone who's a future interest, they're no longer prospects. So we could have had the discovery call, the strategy call, the sales call. And at the end of it, they're like, look, I'm super down. I just need to work on this new hire right now. That's my highest priority. Or we are in the middle of a website launch, and so I don't want to drive a lot of traffic to this new website. Or I'd love to repick this conversation up after I come back from vacation. Whatever that future interest is, they go from being a for prospect back down to a sales qualified lead, and they're just inactive. They've already expressed that they want to be followed up with, but it's not something that like our sales admin team is going to say like, hey, let me chase you, let me chase you, let me chase you, because we just need to chill for a hot second. And when we're saying could be a result of 3As that pass the 30-day window, I'm just going to change this result from active SQLs so we can Heather reduce those numbers that pass the 30-day window. Could be a result of, do we have the C's? No, perfect. So it could be a result of prospects, fours that we know are qualified but aren't being worked anymore. So they were abandoned. And a lot, like here it's saying, we know they're sales qualified because they met 2 of the 4, but they're abandoned as a prospect. And that just could be people change at the jobs, they get different priorities. So they're just not in that actively being worked on. We're not having conversations with them every other week. So that's where they're in this like future interest. Again, these aren't inside Dolagil, our CRM. They are just ways to make sure the team, you guys understand sales qualified lead, examples of active and inactive. And then the last one, like Grace was talking about, lost to competitor. Of course we wish we didn't lose a competitor, but the reality is it's okay. Sometimes people go to competitors and then they come back to Mongoose Media, or sometimes they go to competitors and stay with them. And if they're having success, amazing. Whether they end up working with us or not, the end of the day is every single person that's had a chance to come across our path, we still want nothing but the success for them and their business. And if that's not been with us and they found success elsewhere, amazing. Doesn't mean we didn't want to sell to them. It's just that means they didn't want to buy from us at the time and they chose someone else. And I'm super okay with that. And there's still going to be sales qualified leads because we have those emails that go out 2 a week, marketing push and value in advance. And we'll rotate between the different outcomes. Okay, I'm just doing a time check because I'm leaving in 3 minutes. So when we know that they went with someone else, we don't always know, right, team? We don't always know that someone went with a competitor. Sometimes we find out, sometimes they share, sometimes we find out in a press release. If we find out, then we know they're in an active one. Otherwise, they likely become downgraded because we haven't heard much from them. When we say likely downgrade from a prospect, but there's an open loop to why they were sales qualified leads, and we're checking in until we abandon them to an 8 disqualified, or 2D had a dialogue and said they're no longer interested. So here we have had dialogue, and then they talked to us and said, we're not interested anymore. So like they wanted to hear what we have to sell, but when, it's like, it's not you, it's me. If you're not interested and you're like, yeah, no, I'm for sure not interested right now, I'm not putting you as a disqualified lead because again, I'm looking at stuff from a year or 2 or 5 years down the line. I'm going to say that you're still a marketing qualified lead because you were interested in what we have to say and then what we have to sell. So that's just where we're putting in, if you graduate from 2 to 3, and then if you can go from 3 back down to 2 or to 8 as a disqualified lead or to 4s as a prospect. Thank you, Heather. I appreciate the private chat. So here's the whole map. This is the 0 through 8, which is 9 because 0 counts as a number. And then what Heather has here on the bottom, oh, that's cool. Every status becomes a signal. What we have is the loop of the data going back into the CRM. If we don't feed the data back into our ads, we're optimizing for the wrong thing. Let's see. Let me just go back here. Irish, you're saying, I like that we have a label for all possible scenarios. You know what? I like that we are labeling possible scenarios, but I definitely don't think we've even got close to all of them. We just keep adding more and more as situations come up. And if other people have examples, we'll just cycle them in. We are not locked in. This is a working doc. This is my goal of training the team and anyone else who wants to be a fly on the wall. I hope that by the end of this, we all can have a stronger understanding that where a contact is in relationship to our CRM has significance, not just to the sales team of knowing how to work them, but to our advertising platforms knowing how to optimize for more of what we want. If we do not send these signals back, they're going to look at all leads as equal. And we know not all leads are created equal. In fact, most leads are just simply horseshit. And what Heather's passing through here is when we send back data of what we don't want, we can affix a value dollar amount to it so that we can tell Meta the true dollar value that this status brings to our ecosystem. So when we have 0 through 8, moving someone to a disqualified lead, we're able to send back negative dollar value back to Meta and say, do not send me more of these people. It actually cost me $1,200 to acquire this non-customer, this disqualified lead. Okay, I don't see any other questions. Heather, if there's another slide that you wanted to pass on, I can jump into it. But next week is our email revenue maximizer. If you do want to jump into that, you can scan to register. We are working on a way that you can just get an automatic notification. So we do this every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, even 3 hours before my younger brother is getting married. That's right. I do need to jump though, because my face needs to get ready, and that's not going to happen overnight. So thank you for everyone that's been able to sign up. Last question I see from Irish. How did we assign the value for the disqualified? Oh, good question. How we assign the value. So we use a tool. So it's using Conversions API, and we take the data. So if a contact CRM status changes from anything to a disqualified, it automatically ports that data back into it, because we're using a third-party tool to send that conversion data into Meta's API to know that within their black box of Andromeda. So good question. How do we assign the value for the disqualified lead? We determined the value first. So we chose the number 1200. That's not one that is norm. Mongoose Media assigned 1200, negative 1200 to 8s. And let me share my screen for the pipeline, unless you have a pipeline path somewhere, Heather. But here, like, these are the dollar amounts that we did. So there's progression, right? When people come to the different places. And then we have this negative. So zombies are worth negative 20, couldn't be bothered, negative 200, dialogued, negative 400, 8 disqualifieds, 1200. And it's a growing. So you can be $3 for coming in, $7, 15. It adds up, minuses and adds. Okay. Thank you so much, Bay, for my brother's wedding. Woohoo! Now to finish my speech and to get pretty. Thank you, everyone. Heather, last one is, want to know more about, okay. If you want to know more about, she's giving a good point. If you want to know more about the solution that we use and the third-party tools we do to send positive and negative data back into the Meta ecosystem, go ahead and reach out to us. You can schedule a discovery call. I'll spill all the secrets, or attend this live, and you ask, we tell. So thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Time to finger dance it out.